The press has named it a so-called knockout game. We don't discount that exists. It's a possibility. We've investigated and we continue to investigate.
With me here, Rabbi Gary Moskowitz. He is a former cop, lives in Brooklyn. He is teaching fellow Jews to defend themselves against these so-called knockout attacks, has a black belt, also in karate, and is known to fellow cops as Rambowitz.
I don't know if fellow cops, but a lot of people picked it up in different news media pieces.
Don Lemon also joining me here as well, because we're previewing part of your show tonight at 11 o'clock, the 11th hour. You're going to be talking about the so-called knockout game. But first to you, Rabbi, we know in reading about this that one of the investigations, at least here in the New York area, is being investigated as a hate crime because one of the victims is Jewish. Do you think that Jews specifically are being attacked?
Yeah, well, the issue is they're not just attacking Jews theologically. What they're doing is they're attacking weaker people. It's like very much like the animal kingdom. They're attacking weak people. So they attack elderly women, they attack children, and Jewish people, unfortunately, especially the Orthodox community, are considered weak. And they probably deserve that reputation in many ways because they don't practice healthy living styles here. They don't eat right often. They don't exercise regularly. They don't study martial arts here like their counterpart in the secular community here. So what I'm doing now, I'm training a lot of Jewish kids over many years, and even more so now because people are scared and they want to learn how to defend themselves.
We'll get to the training and how exactly, and demonstrating how you're telling people to defend themselves. But how can you even get someone to defend themselves when these people are coming from behind, sucker punching these people?
For sure. It's really not that difficult here. I know it looks like it's so spontaneous that they catch you off guard, but the truth is a good martial art person who is training here is training to be aware. That's the first thing. We have actual physical and mental exercise to train you to be aware. And one of the ways to be aware is that if you train and you see 3 or 4...
Be aware of your surroundings.
Totally here. There's a whole training here. There's a whole mental imagery thing that we teach people that we do in martial arts on a regular basis here. It's a very important concept.
You have eyes on the back of your head.
Can I just say something? Listen, the knockout game, there's no denying the video. You see the video there and you see it's happening. Random acts of violence happen all the time.
All the time.
And
there's
no concrete evidence that this is some phenomenon that is, that there are teenagers marauding around the streets that are knocking people out. I think it's a confluence of videotape, cell phones, and this is all being caught on tape now. Right. Now, whether or not it is, police will determine that. But so far, no police department has determined that there's any such thing as a knockout game.
And you say, I mean, I was reading, you said you were
and I'm all for people. You should be teaching people to defend themselves, but there's really no firm evidence that there is a knockout game. Well, and it's also being said that there have been Jewish people who have been targeted. There have been white people who have been targeted. There have been black people. Even the video that we're looking at now is in question. The one that we were looking at, the guy coming from behind. Yeah. Many people say that's Europe. It's not even Philadelphia. So I don't know. But I know that there is evidence that this has been happening since 1994, and all of a sudden the videotape has now caught up with
because people are watching on cameras.
Yes, there's also a slap game in Europe as well.
There are all kinds of things.
Right. If I can just mention that actually it's been going on for well before 1994. I was a police officer in 1982, and it was going on then. It's going on for over a generation here. In fact, it's not just a game, it's more of an initiation. A lot of times, a lot of gang members will hit other people here. They have to hit a certain amount of people to get involved and commit a crime. So this way, they'll have influence in that gang. By the way, it wasn't just against individuals or weaker people. When I was a young cop, it was they played Knockout the Cop. I was physically under attack on several times when I worked with youth gangs. I was one of 8 cops in the whole city specializing with youth gangs and youth at risk. I worked directly out of the high schools here, and we were specially trained. And I was attacked on several occasions because I was a police officer, and they were prepared to get arrested just to win points.
And they should be. It's awful. It's despicable. Any act of random violence, someone should be arrested. There have been people for the so-called knockout game who there was one guy who was shot because he messed with the wrong guy.
Right.
This guy was waiting on his daughter at the bus stop, and he had a gun, license to carry, and he shot the kid. The kid is in jail. Luckily, he lived, but he was shot. There have been a number of those.
How about game aside, though? I want you to show us as best as you can how, if you were walking along, let's say you're the random person who's targeted Don Lemon, and you have someone coming up from behind, and this person's going to sucker punch you. How do you defend yourself? Can you show us?
Yes, let me just explain one thing about being aware. Okay?
Let's do it.
Sure, how you doing?
Don't hurt me, though. This is not like the
Let's watch this.
We want to come back again. The issue is being aware. When I walk down the street, even here, I was a police officer in Midtown for many years. I worked in the South Bronx.
So much going on around.
Exactly. You have to, when I walk, I don't just walk straight. Many people are doing the wrong thing. They're tied up to their cell phones, to their iPods here. They're not focused. Many of them are getting hit by cars, they're tripping on the sidewalk, and they're getting assaulted here because they're not focused and paying attention. When you walk in the street, it's very much like you're driving a car. You should be focused on your surroundings.
So then what do you do? If you're walking and I...
Watch. If I'm walking down the street, I don't just walk down the street oblivious to everything. Every so often, I do a turn to check my peripheral vision here on both sides.
That's what we do in the city.
You have to.
Right.
You have to. So if you're walking by, if you're attacking me from behind, let's say, and first of all, if you're attuned to people around you here, and as I'm walking, and he throws that punch,
which side? And does it matter?
I could redirect it. Watch what I did. As he throws a punch, I'm redirecting his force, and I'm throwing it with the same thing. If I want to continue, I can go here and just take him down slowly. These are all physics tricks.
Careful, this man has to be on television at 11 o'clock tonight.
This is my livelihood right here.
If he punches with the other hand, I can redirect and come around, and I can keep spinning around and take it. Now I put him in a shoulder lock, where his shoulder will separate here if I put more pressure on. He'll be a very good boy. Okay?
Black belt rabbi, but those are things you can do.
But what if you are, seriously, what if you're walking, you don't see some, there's nothing, I mean,
too many people are buried in the phones.
No, we're not saying this is guaranteed. You're getting an advantage. Okay. The advantage is to become aware. And the second thing is, if you do get hit, let's say throw a punch, let's say I get hit in the face, punch slowly.
Yeah.
And I got hit. We're trained to absorb punch and to go with the flow and then come back in and take them down in some type of grappling. When you grapple, then you can take people down.
I'm going to start calling him Rabbi Kick Butt. But listen, here's the thing
though. Final thought, and then we got to go.
Yeah, this is the final thought. Nothing is 100% foolproof.
Sure.
We spoke to a woman who said her 5-year-old son was a victim of the knockout game, getting out of a taxi. She's paying the taxi driver. All of a sudden, she gets out to walk. Her son falls, and then she goes, "What happened?" And by the time she figured it out, the perpetrators were gone.
Right.
She eventually caught up with him, according to her. But as I said, it's not 100% foolproof.
No, but I mentioned it.
But you have to be aware of yourself.
One of the things that have to be done is I'm involved in trying to promote some legislation here. I'm working with one of the state senators in New York, named David Weprin, and other people also. We're trying to get some laws passed, a new game violence law. If someone's going to commit an assault and try to hurt somebody because of that, they can be charged with an felony. On top of that, we need human relations classes back in the public school system where they learn about perception, communication, empathy skills.
Teach them young.
Yeah.
Rabbi Moskowitz.
Thank you so much. Careful, Brooke, because he may think you're coming after him.
John Lemon, thank you. And you're going to be talking about this 11th hour tonight, 11 o'clock Eastern, specifically.
In case you missed it.
Right, thank you.
Yes, here you go.